Welcome to News on the Hour. Here are some of the stories stopping the news. Members of the Church of Nigeria Reference Committee meet to finalize amendments on the national constitution. Lagos Mainland Diocese reviews plans for the year 2020 Diocesan Synod. And the Bishop of Ife opens up on how the diocese carries out missions and evangelism. Plus, the Deputy Director of Professional Development and Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria, Acnn, calls on Nigerian youths to grab the opportunities available in the advertising profession. We begin in Abuja, where the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion Reference Committee, which is a group of mainly legal practitioners saddled with the responsibility of advising the Church of Nigeria on the issues of the constitution of the Church, both national and in the dioceses. They met to finalize amendments of the provisions of the constitution that was agreed upon in the last General Synod of the Church of Nigeria. The meeting had in attendance the Church of Nigeria Registrar, Barrister Abraham Yisa, the Archbishop of Kwara Province, Most Reverend Israel Amo, the Chancellor of Lagos West Diocese, Honorable Justice Babashola Ogunade, Chancellor of On the Coast Diocese, Barrister T.B. Akinyeye, the Registrar of Abuja Diocese, Barrister Mrs. Kehinde Ajoni, Chancellor of Uyo Diocese, Lady Ime Udom, and Venerable Barrister Ernest Onoha of Abuja Diocese, with Reverend Canon Dr. Bola Ogunyanwo, who is the Secretary of the committee. Other members of the committee who couldn't make it followed up online.
We also have a new chapter 17 on dispute resolution.
Yes. The meeting is a meeting of committee of reference, and by our constitution, that is the committee charged with the responsibility of advising the Church of Nigeria on issues of the constitution. It could be something to do with the national church, that is the Church of Nigeria constitution, or even the constitution of dioceses, because every diocese send their constitution to this committee. The committee will review it and make sure that it is in consonance with the national constitution.
But today, the meeting we had is a meeting of looking at the amended provisions of our constitution, which was agreed upon, passed upon at the General Synod that we had in September 2020. So we have just come to look at all those provisions, ensure that what we have is what people said. And after today, we hope that the papers will go for production, and then it will be available for all the members of the church. The constitution has taken effect from the day that the Church of Nigeria Standing Committee approved of it. That was 23rd of September 2020.
During their meeting, the Primate of all Nigeria, Most Reverend Henry Ndokoba, took some time to admonish the team and appreciate them for their tireless work for the Anglican Church of Nigeria.
God is looking for fat people, not fat, but faithful, available, and teachable. No matter what, this is human constitution. It is subject to amendments. But we thank God that you have taken the pain to help the church in this capacity and in this way. And I want to appreciate all of you for your labor of love, especially those who have been here right from the past years and have consistently helped the church in this direction.
And in Lagos State, social justice will form the focus of a two-day diocesan synod of the Lagos Mainland Diocese, which opens up Sunday afternoon at the Cathedral Church of St. Jude, Ebutemeta, Lagos State. The Most Reverend Emmanuel Ebunu, Bishop of Lokoja Diocese, will preach the sermon titled God, the Author of Social Justice. On Monday morning, the official opening of the business session will hold at the Cathedral Church of St. Jude de Butemeta. As an annual festival of the Bishop, the Synod will attract delegates from various churches in the diocese and friends from Christendom and civil society to examine urgent issues facing the church and the society. The Bishop of Lagos Mainland, Right Reverend Akimbelu Johnson, as chief host, will preside over deliberations and deliver a State of the Church and Nation address. Recommendations will be drawn at the end and shared with members of the larger society to drive the focus of the church for the year. This will be the first time that the Synod, which comes 6 months later than planned, will be condensed into a 2-day celebration as a consequence of the health and political challenges in the country. And still in the West, the Bishop of the Diocese of Ife, the Right Reverend Olubumi Akinlade, has stated how missions and evangelism are being carried out in his diocese. Speaking in an interview with ACNN News correspondent Nzubechi Frank, the bishop noted that out of 142 churches in the diocese, 92 are located in remote villages, which provides opportunity for missionary activities, saying that the mission field is visited from time to time by all pastors in the city who take a week out of every year to spend time ministering, baptizing and teaching churches in the remote villages. This, he said, is an exercise in which he takes part in. And he further explained that for evangelism, they pick out Sunday every month to carry out an exercise called Go Ye Project.
In the Diocese of Ife, we have divided mission and evangelism into two because out of the 142 churches we have, 92 are actually in remote villages, which gives rooms for mission. And so we have a director of mission, and from time to time we go to the mission field. I myself, I go with them. Every year for a week, all the pastors in the city actually go into these remote villages to spend a week with those churches, ministering, baptizing, teaching, doing all that is required. And apart from that, we also set aside one Sunday a month where we have a short service, and after the short service, everybody goes out on evangelism. We call it the Go Ye Project, which you have to evangelize our neighborhood. So to tell them about the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ. This is what we are doing.
He also spoke on what was obtainable during the pandemic, as they were able to reach out to the people through radio, as it was the easiest way to reach them. With a 30-minute Sunday service using English and their native language, Yoruba. And aside the radio, they used the internet to reach out to more people, and concluded by exposing their plan of their preparation to launch a radio Bible study for the diocese.
And also with the COVID-19 period, we started a mission program on the radio, because the people in our own environment, the quickest way to reach them is via the radio. So on the radio, every Sunday, we have a 30-minute program, actually Sunday service, and we have it both in English and in Yoruba, which is the local dialect. Every Sunday, that's outside us trying to reach people via the internet, whether it's Facebook or YouTube or other Instagram and other channels. So that's some of the things we are doing right now. We are planning and we're preparing to launch a radio Bible study for our diocese.
On the foreign scene, the Bishop of the Episcopal Diocese of South Carolina, Bishop Mark Lawrence, has ordained 5 new vocational deacons in a service at the Cathedral of St. Luke and St. Paul, Charleston. Reflecting on the ordination, Bishop Lawrence said it was a move of yet another class of dedicated vocational deacons who have been tutored by Canon Mike Maloney and the able staff of diocesan clergy who gave their time and expertise to help equip those raised up from within the congregation and are called by God to be ordained in the ministry of servanthood, urging them to be humble and honor to God as they serve in his vineyard. The new deacons are Claudia Berry Garucci, Harry Istalian, George Retmeyer, William Riggs, and Nelson Weaver. Moving to the secular front, the Deputy Director, Professional Development and Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria, ACNN, Dr. Joey Eugene Onora, has called on Nigerian youths to grab the opportunities available in advertising profession. Speaking with Nwanne Ogechukwu, ACNN News correspondent in Abuja, Dr. Onora stressed on the need for the government and those in authority to make the industry attractive to the youths, as he is optimistic that Nigerian youths can do well in the creative industry.
Today's economy is driven by productivity on the one side and developing and exploiting the potentials of the market. And the more people that you are able to attract to take advantage of the value that you have created, the more that you are able to build and grow an economy. The challenge of Nigeria is especially in the area of creating value or adding value. And that is the difference between developing and developed countries. Developing countries are essentially bringing out resources that are largely natural. If we are able to throw the light on the potentials of advertising as a part of the creative industry, we will attract the youth into understanding and appreciating that they can productively or profitably undertake advertising activities at various levels. So there's a whole lot of potentials for the youth if they are properly guided and excited to see that the innate potentials they have can be deployed in this direction.
Still on News on the Hour, Inspector General of Police Mohammed Adamu rejects reports by Amnesty International, which says police officers shot at NSAS protesters. That story will come your way after this break. Please stay tuned.
Worthy by design. On this show, we focus on the journey from girlhood to womanhood and everything in between. You are worthy by design.
It is educating, it is inspirational, it is relevant, it is spiritual, it is the Parables, a program that brings to bear what parable means, giving us interpretations to each parable of Christ, and above all, teaching the life-changing lessons from each parable. Join me, Nzubechi Frank, on this station, the Advent Cable Network Nigeria ACNN Television, for the Parables.
Christianity is not just something we say we have or claim with our lips. We have to live it out.
Welcome back. For more on our top stories, please visit our website at acnntv.com or our social media platforms on facebook.com or youtube.com/ACNNTV. To be up to date with our news and other programs, download the VM Africa app from Android and iOS stores. You can also advertise your goods and services on ACNNTV. Moving on with the news, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has rejected reports by a global rights organization, Amnesty International, that police officers shot at EndSARS protesters. He described Amnesty International's report of October 21, 2020, that police personnel shot at peaceful protesters as untrue, misleading and contrary to all available empirical evidence. Adamu said police officers instead acted professionally, exercised commendable restraints, and some paid the supreme price for peace during the recent protests and ensuing violence in some parts of the country. Adamu, in a statement titled EndSARS Protests, insisted that the police personnel acted professionally and exercised maximum restraints. Adamu also confirmed that 22 officers were killed across Nigeria in the aftermath of the EndSARS protests. He also announced that 205 police stations and formations were destroyed. The IGP described the conclusion by Amnesty International that police personnel shot at the peaceful protesters as untrue, misleading, and contrary to all available empirical evidences. And still on social unrest, a coalition of 23 civil society groups and human rights organizations has condemned the recent mass looting and burning down of private and public properties in Plateau State, saying the development was strange to the state and must not be allowed to reoccur. This was as the group commended Operation Safe Haven, the special military task force responsible for internal security in Plateau, South Kaduna and Bauchi states, for its professional conduct in handling the situation without recording any casualties. Besides, the group, under the umbrella of Coalition of Civil Societies for Peace and Human Rights, which noted that Plateau State has for long not recorded any human rights abuse from military personnel in the state, commended the military outfit for the feat. In the statement signed by Dr. Gyang Shah as National Chairman and Pharmacist Simon Vetim as National Secretary, the group particularly commended Operation Safe Haven for what it described as the exceptional role they played in de-escalating the violent conflict in Jos. Meanwhile, the judicial panel investigating complaints of police brutality and extrajudicial killings in Plateau State is inviting the general public to its inaugural sitting scheduled on Monday, the 2nd of November 2020 at Dadin Kowa Youth Center, Jos. Time 10 a.m. This is as contained in a statement signed by the Permanent Secretary and the Secretary to the panel, Cornelius Shiobal, and also members of the public who have complaints of police brutality and other extrajudicial killings are encouraged to make their submissions to the panel as it commences its assignment. It also states that COVID-19 protocol will be strictly observed. And on the world scene, world leaders condemned the fatal stabbings in French city inside Notre Dame Church in Nice, which the France called an Islamist terrorist attack. The condemnation came from President Donald Trump, UN Chief Antonio Guterres, as well as European, Arab and Israeli leaders, saying their hearts are with the people of France, as America stands with the oldest ally in this fight, adding that these radical Islamic terrorists' attack must stop immediately, as no country can put up with it any longer. Meanwhile, Turkey's foreign ministry said Turkey was one of the first countries to condemn the attack that was entangled in a row with France over the publication of some cartoons that triggered a wave of attacks against French people, expressing their solidarity with France and offered condolences to relatives of the 3 people killed in the attack. Now to some sports news. Nigeria Football Federation (NFF) President Amaju Melvin Pinnick is confident the Super Eagles would win the next Africa Cup of Nations. Pinnick spoke on the team's chances of becoming African champions again as they are on the verge of qualifying for the tournament in Cameroon. The Super Eagles finished 3rd in the last edition in Egypt, but they currently sit on top of their qualifying group for the next edition with 6 solid points. The team could seal their place in Cameroon 2020 should they see off neighbor Sierra Leone in next month's double-headers. The first meeting is scheduled for Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin and the Rivers fixture in Freetown, Sierra Leone. The Confederation of African Football Champions League semi-final return match between Zamalek of Egypt and Raja Casablanca of Morocco has been postponed from November 1 to date yet to be decided. The announcement was made by CAF as many of the Raja Casablanca squad have tested positive for the coronavirus, leaving only 10 fit players. Zamalek lead 1-0 from the first leg in Casablanca, with Moroccan Akraf Benkafi scoring the only goal midway through the first half. CAF also announced that the final between Zamalek or Raja and Al Ali of Egypt, scheduled for an Egyptian venue on November 6, has been postponed indefinitely. COVID-19 has wreaked havoc with the 2-leg semi-finals and single-match final of the Elite African Club competition, originally set for last May. The matches were rescheduled for September, then put back again to October and November. You're still watching the news on the hour. To end the news now, a look at the recap of the stories. Members of the Church of Nigeria Reference Committee meet to finalize amendments on National Constitution. Lagos Mainland Diocese reviews plans for the year 2020 Diocesan Synod. Bishop of Ife opens up on how the diocese carries out missions and evangelism. And the Deputy Director, Professional Development and Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria, ACNN, calls on Nigerian youths to grab the opportunities available in the advertising profession. And that's all for this edition of News on the Hour. Thank you for watching. I am Charles Philip Owakola. Bye-bye.